I did manage to complete the event and get the castle dragon. A few things I wanted to say about that. I did actually end up complaining to Gameloft regarding the event because it was actually terribly misleading. You can't actually get... So it says every 4 hours you can get 600 dice for each of the criteria. However, for the breeding, the hatching, and the collecting food, you cannot get 600 dice in 4 hours. If you do the maths with the feeding one, it says you have to breed a half an hour... You have to put on a half an hour food. I think it's the sour cone they're called for half an hour. You have to do a minimum of one of those, which takes half an hour to be ready. If you add those up, you only get I think 380 dice, I think it was. I'm trying to remember my maths now from previous, so if they're slightly off, forgive me, but I know that it works out that you cannot get 600 in 4 hour time frame, so that's misleading on its own. And then you have the whole issue with the hatching and breeding dragons, which I did touch on in the last video in regards to if you breed a higher dragon, then you're going to miss refreshes, so then you've missed out on actually getting some dice, like 600 dice. And that you're best to do the lower breeds, which are the fire with the wind dragon, because you get like 35-minute breeds if you're VIP and 23 minutes with VIP for the other option. So if you get the bee dragon, you get 50 dice each time. So in a 4 hour time slot, you can get just over 300, I think, dice for doing that. So you still can't get the 600, but you do get more than if you tried to breed for a higher one. So I mentioned that in my email to them, and I also mentioned the cost of dice, the amount of money, which obviously I did touch on in my last video, but that is excessive. And by the end of it, I did manage to open up those 2 chests with the battles before them, but on both of those chests, the first battle I couldn't complete, so I had to save up 8,000 dice from just collecting things. So I was like setting timers, I was up till early in the morning. Like, you can't do those events really without being kind of obsessive about it, which isn't really very fair either. But once I passed those, I did manage to complete the rest of the battles. However, if I didn't, and say I had paid to pass one, then the next one I could come across and not be able to battle it again, and so then I'd have to pay another £50 minimum, or just be like, okay, well, that's £50 down the drain, I won't go any further, I'm not going to spend £100, or I haven't got £100, you know. And then that doesn't even factor in the last one. So even if you did go, okay, I'll throw another £50 and see where that gets me, you've still got to then beat the last fight, and it's just ridiculous amount of money. £150, that's almost a week's work for a lot of people. So it's just terrible. Like, I don't know how they can charge pretty much a whole day's work for just a regular person to pass just one battle, and then have 3 of those in a row and not knowing what you're going to be up against. So you can't even weigh it up. Like, if you could see what the battles were going to be ahead of time, then you could be like, okay, well, I can win all 3 of those, I can win all 2 of those after I pay for that one. So then you could be like, well, maybe £50 in my situation isn't so bad. But to not know is really bad. And then once you've beaten those 3 battles, then you have to open the chest, which is also another 1,500 dice. Oh my word, it's just so bad. So I just recommend don't spend any money. If you did spend money, I would complain. I'd absolutely complain, and cite the things that I've said, because to begin with, it wasn't fair. It gave you a misleading expectation of what you can actually earn in that 4 hour period. And so then people will think, oh, well, I just didn't work hard enough. Like, I tried my best. I set alarms and I got up at 2 in the morning, and I just didn't do enough, you know. And that's not the case. You just cannot get every single dice. Like, it is impossible, literally impossible to get them. So don't beat yourself up about it. If you didn't get the castle dragon or the dice dragon, they made it really, really unfair, and to the point where I wonder if there's actually legal issues involved in that. But I'm not an expert in anything like that, so I really don't know. But I did manage to get the castle. I didn't get the dice dragon. If I had managed to wake up, I just didn't manage to wake up and get the last 600 dice I could have got for feeding dragons and then collecting some gold. I would have got maybe about 900 dice, and that possibly would have been enough to get me the dice dragon, but I didn't wake up, so that really sucked. But here's the castle dragon egg. Sorry, that more rambling, but that really frustrated me. Anyway, so let's hatch this one. I'm sorry if there's a lot of tapping noises. I'll try and keep it quiet. There we go. So it's an epic dragon. And I'm going to place that just here. And one more thing I will say about the event is if you didn't get the dice dragon, there is a chance that you'll be able to get it in the future, because if you go into here you will see that the dice dragon is listed but it says not available. So I'm guessing that when they do the next one of those events, the dice dragon will also be available again then. So in my case I'll only need to get 4 more puzzle pieces, so it's not the greatest disadvantage if you don't get the puzzle pieces. Just try and get the castle dragon, or whatever dragon is the one at the end, because that's the one that's going to be hardest to get again. But even with that, I'm sure it'll be Dragon of the Month or Dragon of the Week at some point, or through another event. So here we go. Here's the baby castle dragon. I think it's really, really cute. I love it. It kind of reminds me a bit like if Bowser had merged with one of his castles. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of cute. And it's an earth, shadow, and metal type. And mine's called Azure. And it says, a master of disguise, the castle dragon conceals itself from enemies by blending into nearby stonework. It also uses this technique to avoid doing chores. So there we go, and I'm just going to feed it up. I think it's 14 levels I need to just complete the quest in my clan. In regards to the clan, I am constantly looking at my clan, looking at who's inactive in it, and then deleting those people, and then adding who's next on the wait list. So if you do want to be on my clan, please send me a request. Eventually I will get around to adding people, and obviously every time we go up levels we get more room to add more members. So I can have 35 members at the moment, and these are the people who are waiting to go in. And then you can see the scores here. So what I do is I look at the scores, and if someone has been inactive, so with 0 points, I tend to delete them after a day or two, just to, because I give them like a little bit of time, just in case I didn't get on it one day. But if there's no activity, then I just delete them. So this guy at the bottom here, he's due to come off the clan tonight or tomorrow morning if he doesn't do anything, as with the people just above him. So yeah, so there's the castle dragon as an adult, and I do really, really like it. I like the little spikes on his wrist. I love how he's got all, like, I don't know, I'm a sucker for like old buildings with like ivy and moss all over them, so I guess he's reminiscent of that, so I quite like it. Anyway, that's everything for today's video. I just uploaded one, it's just editing right now, so hopefully that'll be ready to publish as soon as I finish this. Thanks for watching today. Oh, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Bye!